In 2017, juveniles committed violent crimes at a higher rate in North Dakota in 5 years. These crimes committed by kids under 18 include gross sexual imposition and attempted murder. But there's a reason you never hear about this. There's no way for the public to track these offenders, or for us to know how often these kids are successfully rehabilitated or if they end up reoffending. So how do we know if the state's programs are working to give these offenders and the victims their lives back? Renee Cooper spent the last month sitting down with the experts to get the answers you deserve.
Juveniles are different and they must be treated differently.
Assistant Burleigh County State's Attorney Tessa Vaughan says these cases have to be sealed off to the public.
To be able to give them that ability, I think, to rehabilitate themselves away from the public eye, and I think that sets them up for success the best.
Only about 14% of unruly and delinquent offenses committed by juveniles ever see a day in court. The rest are dealt with through intervention, treatment, and sometimes community service that won't result in a criminal record. But for that select few, commitment to a youth correctional facility is the only answer.
It's only 0.2% of those youth that would end up with the deep end of the system, per se, on an annual basis.
What's important about that to understand is that by the time kids reach youth corrections, they've sort of blown through every other sieve that was supposed to be able to help.
Lisa Biergard is the director of the Division of Juvenile Services. She told me the first step they take when a kid is committed through the juvenile justice system is a risk and needs assessment.
Probably one of the most steadfast indicators of risk in kids is the age at which they're first adjudicated. Kids that come into the formal systems younger tend to have poorer outcomes.
Biergard tells me the biggest predictor for delinquency is childhood abuse and neglect. She believes the state does not intervene enough in cases of child neglect. These dynamic factors can be affected through rehab, according to Biergard. Once a rehabilitation plan is developed, a case manager is assigned to follow the plan with the offender and their family. Options include commitment to the Youth Correctional Center, completing in-home interventions, or a day program, focusing on their schooling. The average stay here at YCC is 15 months. The most important goal of any justice system is to keep criminals from reoffending. So is the state's use of rehabilitation working? The statistics say yes. The reoffense rate has largely decreased in the last 15 years. The latest data from 2017 says the state is down to 10%. Biergard says DJS has been measuring recidivism for 30 years.
We are not measuring every time a kid skins their knees after they leave us, but we are measuring events that occur there at a sufficient level to indicate that perhaps treatment and rehabilitation has not been effective.
Case managers keep track of the offenders for a year after they finish treatment. They do that by checking arrest records.
Most of the time, if someone is going to leave custody and have a problem, they do it within a year.
However, if a juvenile reoffends more than a year after leaving the YCC, it's not on record, making tracking juvenile criminals into adulthood difficult. But Biergard thinks the reason reoffense levels in North Dakota are low is because of the case managers who follow those juveniles for a year.
I've seen those cases where those kids have pulled themselves out of a rut and made their lives better. It's wonderful. I've also seen kids who unfortunately, we've continued to have to bring them back into court. Those cases are sad because, again, there's not a person in that courtroom who doesn't sincerely care about these kids.
Vaughan and Biergard both say they believe North Dakota's juvenile justice system is doing its job. Renee Cooper, KX News.
And because juvenile justice laws and practices differ so much across states, Biergard says there's no good way to compare how the juvenile rehabilitation program is working in comparison.
The Federal Communications Commission